Hello.
Oh, I was muted. Hello. Hey, Chris.
I don't know how I feel about the recording already in progress.
Oh, yeah. I know it's set up automatically with these things.
Yeah.
It's not streamed automatically, though. Not that I'm aware. Hello, Elder Wells.
Hey,
Hey, how's it
Hey,
going?
Lucis. Good.
all right. Uh, is Wes still out?
I think he might try to make this one. Oh, I don't know if he's gonna make this one or not. He said he's planning on trying to make a few. Um, yeah, I'm not sure when he arrives in London. See if he's posted about it yet. He's offline. I just pinged him on Slack like a second ago about something. So Chris, I was reviewing the rebase over the weekend for Body Parser. I actually didn't hit send on my comments, but it looks great. I mean, it obviously it does everything it says on the 10. There's a couple things that aren't related to changes you made at all, but I noticed before I was like, I don't know if the thing I was sleeping on was a decision about exposing parse on all of the existing parsers. So you can override um, like JSON.parse is the main parser for JSON, but you can also then pass in um, a new parse function if you want to augment it. Basically, is what that PR adds. And I basically just got decision fatigue on trying to figure out if I how I felt about it. Basically, that's one of the things that author originally added in. Because it makes like the generic parser a little fuzzier, the value in my mind. Like I love the generic parser stuff. I wasn't sure if I wanted to land. So there's a couple of new options that get passed to every user facing parser. There's like two or three new options basically. Um, so I wasn't sure how I felt about the complication of the interface with that basically. So, but the generic stuff looks good. Does what it says on the 10. So I spent way too much time thinking and looking at this PR basically. But yeah.
Um,
I I haven't talked to Wes about it since he's been traveling, basically, as the other project captain on that.
I'm glad to see the other. Yeah, you merged that. I'm glad to see the CI
Yeah.
PR got merged.
Yep.
That had been sitting around for a while. So that's good. I'm just trying to I feel like the last time I looked at this body parser stuff was ages ago. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I think
Um,
my review comments I had pending are gone. Yeah, no, I mean, basically, your rebase works flawlessly and does what it says on the 10. It's just the original thing added was trying to close a couple of different issues. Um, I have changes locally which would just land the generic part and then not add the new options through. But it's literally splitting hairs. It's like,
which options are you referring to?
yeah, let me pull up my notes. I know
Uh,
I'm taking time here, but if we're waiting for another person, or I don't think Blake's gonna make it because I think he said he was traveling the next two. I think that still covers this one. So he'll be potentially waiting on Rand, I think, but we might not get him either. Z body parser notes. D. I'll screen share real quick. I'll steal. I always do this and I'm like, did I write anything in my notes I don't actually want to show on screen? But I usually don't do that. Whoops, I'm already recording. I'm hitting the wrong buttons. There we go. Share it.
oh, we're gonna just realizing we're gonna need to rebase again,
Mm,
only because
of
uh,
landing the CI.
the CI. So there's some I mean, they're fairly minor. There's some fairly minor version differences with what got merged into master. So maybe it's really pulling in master into 2.x, I think.
Yep.
And then we can rebase the PR on 2.x as long as that looks good.
Yep.
But it's not a big deal.
These are the new options. They're largely not particularly important. Character set is one that would be like it can either be a string or a function, which will then determine if it's going to reject parsing based on not having the correct character set. It's kind of minimal, but it's one of the byproducts of the way the generic PR was written, basically. Again, not something you did. It was just baked in from the beginning. Parse is the one that is the most, well, all of these are a little bit interesting, but parse is one that would literally allow you to override json.parse with a custom parse, which is what a bunch of people have asked for. That's exactly why this was added into the PR. Is there's an issue open asking for things like, hey, I want to use big ints in my JSON body, and you lose precision with json.parse. So some people want to override the parse. Doug was pretty strictly against this specifically, but it's one of those. It's a weird thing, but it's like, does it complicate the interface beyond what is useful for the majority of consumers? In my opinion, where it's like, with this parse doesn't actually respect like reviver. So for JSON parse, you can pass reviver, right? Which will get passed into JSON. But this particular parse would have no way to actually read that option. At least the way that it is written currently. I think I could be lying about that, but yeah, that's why I didn't hit approve or merge it yet. Was I was just looking at some of this stuff. Let me see, how does the generic work here with option parse? Parse is this. Parse parse then gets passed into read. And then does parse get where's parse? Yeah, and then parse won't ever actually receive the reviver, which is, again, these are splitting hairs. It's just like, I'm happy to land the generic stuff because I think it's great. And then that unblocks people from being able to, if they want to write a new parser that just changes the parse function, they would then have to do a small amount of work to do that. Versus just adding a config option to bodyparser.json that passes a new function for the actual parse, basically. Oh yeah, I forgot Jean. I keep doing this landing in the wrong thing. That's JSON. But for an example, like, so this is work that I was doing already to not expose some of those options, basically. I'm taking up a lot of time here. It's probably something I should talk about in the actual PR itself, but yeah, basically, like, if someone is going to write a new, like, if they're going to write their own generic parser to parse JSON a little bit differently, with the generic change, it's literally like you pass like one or two options. Like you set a char set and you pass a parse function, and then you have a new unique JSON parser. So that was my hesitation, was I was like, well, landing both of them together gives you two different ways to meet the same needs and stuff. So again, it's splitting hairs, and it's some of the things about like, how much do I want to change how body parser works in terms of what options it takes, but I don't care either way. But that's why you didn't get approval. But I did spend like two days reading it. So
yeah, well, let me be, I want to be clear. I do not have a horse in
yeah.
this race.
Mm-hmm.
It's, this was on the checklist for V5.
Yeah.
And the old PR needed to be rebased. And so that's what this does. I have not formed in it, the general idea of the refactoring made sense to me. But that's about as far as my feelings go on it. So I have not made any sort of value judgment on the substantive changes that you're talking about. So
what you're experiencing right now is me desperately wanting to talk to another human about this after going down a rabbit hole on it. So again, thank you for the time, but yeah, I understand. That's fine. Basically, like, if Wes is the other project captain on this, then he's the one I should get his opinion on, or at least he's the one who I can steal his time to talk about this shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm just saying, I right now I can't speak to it, so I don't have an opinion. And on top of that, I certainly am not just looking for let's rubber stamp and merge this.
yeah,
Definitely.
it would be a small change. It comes down to, oh, I changed a lot here. That's why. It comes down to this. The way the PR is originally written, a generic parser takes two options objects, right? It takes what's called overrides, but these are actually just the options. Like this is like parser implementation, and then it also takes user options, and it merges them together. And so theoretically, with the generic implementation, a user can override like literally almost like I think anything in parser options. I think except for a couple things, basically. Um, with object.assign, actually, it's going to take parser options over other things. But basically, it's just this, like, I would prefer to lock down generic parser. So it just takes like one object and you do your configuration further up in types JSON. This is the actual JSON parser. So then the JSON parser itself that we ship just has a smaller set of options, the normal set of options it already has in V1, basically. So that's most of what I've been working on. But again, I'm gonna stop now because we don't need to go deep into this right now. So
Okay.
hey, John.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
Sorry, didn't want to interrupt you in the middle of the explanation.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm just code. Just code.
That would be a great title for a book one day. Just code.
Just code. The irony of it too. Never just code. Cool. Yeah, I think this is probably all we're gonna get today. I've got agenda open. I'm looking at it. I dropped minutes in the issue body. Just a link, uneditable link if anybody's interested. Here's the agenda itself. Yep. There's one agenda item I think I'd like to add, but other than that, is there anything you guys want to add on to the agenda?
Where's sorry.
I just dropped a link to the issue itself, and there's
Okay.
a minutes link in there, but there's nothing new added to the agenda beyond the stuff that we've been getting pulled in automatically. Top prio, B5 push stuff. But yeah, the agenda item I was going to add was to nominate Chris to the TC if he is willing to accept such a nom. I know that Wes had already expressed his interest in doing that.
Let me drop the PR.
Yeah, there I saw the PR too. I mean, I'm in favor. I know I see a thumbs up from Jean, see a thumbs up from Ulysses. I know Wes had one as well. So if you're willing to accept, then that is, I think, that. So congratulations.
Woo!
We do need to figure out the versioning for Multer. But I'm not sure. Sorry, I might have just changed subjects. I'm not sure if
Are you good?
let me just put it in the chat here so we don't forget it. We can come back to it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go merge that pull request.
Yeah, I know we had some security stuff to talk about still. Some of it we couldn't talk about last time because we had a guest, which was great. And
This
not a
one's
problem, but we couldn't
this-
talk about security stuff at the time.
This one's also being recorded.
Yes, but
Just
the
not sure that we can.
recording is not, well, that's another thing. Like, is the recording automatically available?
No, I'm pretty sure they're not automatically available. Um,
They are available to folks who are on the meeting invite. In, well, the caveat is sometimes it seems they're available and sometimes they aren't. Like basically if you log into your Linux Foundation account and go to your meetings, you can see the meetings and the recordings, but it's not clear when those are automatically visible or not. But it's certainly different than it being like publicly visible to the world. Um, but I just don't know if like
we can always drop and just form a new Zoom call.
that's
But
true. Or
Yeah.
we can I can ping Ben and he can come in and turn the recording off as well. That's so, but let's deal with that later. Um, we're not talking about security stuff right now. We don't need to worry about it.
it's been Sternthal, right? Yeah.
That's correct.
I'm gonna DM him so he can add you to the TC Slack channel, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Just because so I'll forget otherwise. But
Oh, on that note, is there any other onboarding that happens?
I think Wes is the one able to grant you all access, I would guess.
I think I mean, as admins, we can. I mean, I can add you as an
Yeah, on
admin to the
GitHub, yeah.
orgs. Yeah,
Not sure we have
we
the
have that
right for
ability.
NPM though.
Yeah, on npm, I don't know that I have perms to do that. Sorry, I'm doing things in the background to try to get him into the TC channel real quick, but
So I'm just checking the agenda with everything. So the biggest issue is the release of Express 5. And I just do have a question. Did we discuss about releasing Express 5 as it is released today, or do we want to have Express 5 and every module being part of some kind of NPM organization just for that to be, I don't know if I want to call that safer, but a bit more, let's say, at least linked together?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't remember a discussion about that, but I don't see it as you're saying move everything into a single Express org in npm, right? To change the namespace that people install stuff
So
under.
yeah, so maybe I don't know if we want to move everything into sorry, only one, or keep the three like at Express, at Spylar.js, and at the third one, or if we want to have everything, but to use at least organization on NPM for that. I don't know if it will make sense for this version of next version or something.
We definitely would not want to change any namespaces. Like you wouldn't want to, if you have an unscoped package now, you don't want to change the way those are installed, just for continuity reasons. But that's different than, that's separate from like NPM organization managing the permissions for
Yeah.
the packages themselves and publishing. That totally makes sense to be consolidated and
No, yeah.
simplified as much as possible for sure.
Okay, I misunderstood.
but like you wouldn't want to be like, what's npm install express? We don't want to change that to like npm install at express/express kind of thing. If we were starting from scratch, like Greenfield, sure,
Yeah, yeah.
but you wouldn't want to change that now at this point.
Okay.
But yeah, all of the but as for the organization, publishing, everything, it doesn't really impact.
Not really. No, I was mostly speaking about the namespace part.
All right, so what do we want to do here?
Yeah, good question. I mean, we can look at the
We can look at the fun list, or
fun list that hasn't gotten burned down, I think, much.
there's yeah, there's that, and then there's the body parser.
Oops, this is the wrong issue. I think I just linked the wrong issue. Yeah, I did. Go to Express. Is this it? Yep. Yeah. I don't think we've had much movement on this last few weeks. I don't have updates specifically. This PR, yeah, this PR has been superseded by the.
Oh yeah, we
the
should edit,
rebase.
replace that with the
Yeah.
new one.
Yeah, I need to actually open a V5 PR for this, I've realized, because this original PR is targeting the wrong branch, so I can just reparent it, I think, and probably pick it back up. That's what I'm thinking of doing, actually. It has to land on V5, not V4, where it's targeted. Version migration guide. Where's my mute button? Yeah, I mean, my plan is to focus on some body parser stuff. Close the things that I have pending. Basically, my two PRs are really close. Essentially, I just need to push an update to this PR based on. I'm going to remove this test, but otherwise, it's good to go on that in particular. But what else do we have, Ulysses? Yeah, this one we said we're gonna keep. We're not going to land this until the end of V5 so that we can see what we might break in the meantime, basically, I think.
Yep.
Status codes, callback. I don't know that we're going to land this one, actually, but migration guide, 5 router. Blake's on that. I'm sure he's making progress on it. Array flat. Ulysses, have you had time to look at this, or are you just waiting on review?
I didn't.
Yeah, your name is on it, I guess, so that's why I asked.
Yeah, I got assigned to it, I think, in terms of making happen, but yeah, I didn't make any progress recently. But yeah, it looks good to me. I mean, the idea is to remove the dependency and just to use a right flat, basically. So yeah, I think we are getting close to just to get some additional reviews. I will review it myself, but yeah, basically the idea is to merge it soon. I think it only requires Node 4, so I think we are good to go.
Yeah, I just dropped it. I'm trying to drop things that need reviews with the TC tag just because it's easier to keep track in your personal pending review list and stuff.
Yep.
Depths, body parser, we've talked a bit about.
Yep.
Router, Blake's on it. Support for Brotli and body parser. I haven't looked at this actually yet. But yeah, we have some body parser work. I think that's a lot of it, which is what I'm going to be focusing on this next week. Ending. Yeah, we had a lot of doc stuff to do basically still. Yeah. I know we have some security things to talk about that we'll try to hit in this meeting.
Yep.
think we still need to do this, which is shake out any stuff we're missing on this list. Yeah, I don't have a lot to talk about really. Sorry, I took it away. Yeah. Do we want to look at the versioning for Multer? Right, oh, you just dropped that in. I clicked the link and I was confused.
Well, oh, did you ping Ben? Or did we say we would wait to do that?
I pinged Ben. I didn't hear back from him yet, but
Oh, okay.
I also, I DM'd Wes.
Okay. If we're gonna talk security stuff, we should drop and do a new meeting. Is that what we want to do, or do we have some other items to talk about?
I don't think we have anything particularly.
Yeah, nothing from my side also.
Okay, let me just take a look real quick. There's the body parser, there's that security, that is not. Oh, the query support in 21. I saw, John, you had something that was like make the thing work or something. Yeah, some commit message that was like make it actually skip or something.
Oh, query. Oh, yeah. I
And I
can
was
bring you guys up.
confused about that.
Yeah, did I land that? Express.js. TLDR is query works in Node 22.2.0. My POC repro passes. I haven't written any actual code with it, like seriously, to like exercise it, but I posted about it on Twitter and was like, hey, this works now in 22.2 Node, works in Express as well. If you're on that version, please file any bugs at this tracking issue in Express if you run it anything. Yeah, but so what happened was, 21, it still fails on. So I updated our tests to make sure that we skip that test only on 21. We were skipping on 22 and 21. And with that same PR, I updated the minor pin version in CI to run 21.7. So that was what happened with your PR was it passed CI because CI was not using a node version which even knew anything about query. It was using 21.6 and it came in at like 21.72 or something. So, which is an interesting discussion if we do want to talk about this. Is anybody in favor of continuing to pin minors in CI right now in Express? And I think a lot of other modules, we pin minors. So we're only running on 21 point whatever we pinned, like as an example, which is what happened with that PR. That's part of the confusion that we've had with that particular query issue. So
I think we're based on all of the folks' comments, I think we're all pretty much in agreement on this. But one of the things that I had mentioned was like, if there are specific versions that we want to continue to have in the test matrix, that's okay, but it should also be testing the latest on the release line. Because it defeats the entire point of having, it's in the name, continuous integration is meant to be testing on the newer stuff, so that there's a breakage, so you have a canary. So we should certainly be testing on the latest of any maintained release lines. Anything unmaintained, there's still no reason to pin them. So that I think we should be doing across the board, period. If in addition we want to say we want to make sure we're validating some pinned version here or there, that's okay, but that should be on top of making sure we're pulling down whatever the latest is. So I guess the only question there would be, are there particular versions that we want to be testing and making sure we include, or is really all of that just an artifact left over from the previous behavior, and we have no good reason to test any exact specific versions anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really test any specific versions. We just, by nature of bumping it to whatever the latest release is on a minor, and then we do that. So there's one particular issue I ran into when doing my CI work stuff, which is still in PR, but like there's a bug on like node 5 or something. I forget what it is, where npm had like a major upgrade, and so you can't install like anything with npm with the npm it ships with, or some crazy thing like that. It's wild, but there's a fix I have in my CI branch for that, which just changes the npm version you use, which is like literally the only workaround for the ecosystem. I found like a weird thing, but that had nothing to do with our project. So, yeah, I mean, these are two-way door problems, I think, anyways, where we can always change it if we need to. We can always change CI to be a different way without changing, without revving a major or anything like that. So I'm down to not pin any node versions and just test latest for everything that's available. Again, there's trade-offs, but the only way pinning is valuable in my mind is if we continuously bump it, and we aren't continuously bumping it, so we're getting behind on stuff and missing things that should happen. Again, the risks are something changes in node and it breaks tests and it gets confusing with PRs and node breakages,
Right.
but like I'd rather know personally if
Right. You're gonna have a potential set of problems one way or the other. The question is which option has less potential problems to be dealing with. And I think that, again, like even if you have more problems in the world where you're not pinning the miners, you probably still want to be in that mode because that's what's alerting you to any particular issues. And you want to know about those sooner rather than later. You'd rather have your CI failing right away due to some change rather than finding out later that somebody's just simply trying to run and install Express and something is broken, and we're like, and they had to tell us about that because our CI isn't doing its job.
Yep.
So
Canary in the gold mine, I think, originally caught that 21, that node query, that HTTP query issue. I'm in favor of it. Ulysses, John, I don't know if you guys have opinions on that specifically, or if we're getting consensus basically.
I think we'll have a consensus. Well, at
Yep.
least I don't oppose.
No, yeah, a good on me.
Yep. Cool. Okay, we can open a PR to do that. And again, yeah, two-way door problem. We can always change it. I'm not aware of something which would lock us in or whatever. So, and the last thing I'll say about this is like, from one of the things I love to do in Express is to look into the crazy history and look at things and how did this happen, et cetera. And from what I can tell, Express has always pinned node miners in CI. It's always been that way. And Doug or previous maintainers were bumping as new releases came out, so that they were doing it that way. But specifically, like a lot has changed in Node.js since the early days of Express, and I trust the Node project enough to not break stuff very often in miners, and I would rather us see if something did break as fast as possible. So yeah, there have been a couple occasions in the past where things have broken in odd ways, but I think that there's very little risk. Like some of the justification from the past was like, so if node breaks something, it doesn't impact our CI, but we're in a much different world now where people are on latest and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you're dealing with a situation where you have sort of like a noisy neighbor, right, where they're not doing the right thing in the upstream project and it's causing these erroneous breakages, then okay, I understand why you would pin and avoid that. But like, yeah, that's not the world that we are currently operating in. And yeah, and if in the future they do start breaking stuff left and right, then we can deal with that when it happens. But we would not expect that.
And with that, to be clear, we're in favor of removing the pinning for V4 specifically.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Just wanted to be clear so I could capture the action item.
Yeah, and if anybody goes like, "Oh no, hang on a second," I think the corrective action there isn't to go back to pinning, but it's just to include in the matrix, the test matrix, whatever specific version somebody is concerned with. So like, okay, if you want to say for version 20, we want to be testing version 20.1 always, that's fine, but we should also be testing whatever the latest 20 is as well, not one or the other.
Yep. Continuous. Okay.
But until somebody says that, let's just not have any of the pinned ones.
Do we want to talk about Molter now in terms of like the version stuff specifically?
So this
TLDR is like,
yeah, well, it touches it's the security stuff. So if we're going to talk about that, we should drop and hop on a, I don't know, we could just get a Google Meet going or a Zoom.
yeah.
Yep, we can use Huddle even if you prefer.
Oh yeah, we can. Well, we can't huddle. We can huddle in security triage. I think we're all in there. I think Jean is as well,
Yeah.
right? Cool. Yeah, let's do that. Chris is in there. Yeah, he's in there.
All right.
Cool. All right, well, let's drop over to there.
Okay, see you in a moment.
Yep. Once I find how to leave.